Welcome back to Reality Court, everyone. I'm Anna Quincoces, and I'm so excited to have a very special guest today, one of the top podcasters in this space for sure. I've been very lucky to have some great podcasters joining me during Ace's maternity leave. We have Ryan Bailey from So Bad It's Good. Right? Is that the name of the podcast?
Yeah, that is the name. And shout out to Ace. I'm so happy everybody's safe and healthy and beautiful. And for all the listeners, I'll try. Nobody could ever replace Ace, obviously. So I'm just going to try and keep up with Anna. So thank you for allowing me here.
I think you are a formidable substitution.
Yeah, and by the way,
anyway,
I'm just hoping we don't get any lawsuits today or cease and
we're
desist.
not going to get any lawsuits. We're not going to get any lawsuits because, first of all, everything I say, it's my opinion and not that of anybody that is co-hosting with me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, no,
not
anything I say is also Anna's opinion, and you cannot blame that on me. My opinion. That's all on Anna. I want to make sure people know that.
It's all me, guys. I am the official scapegoat of the 2005 Olympics.
Wait, I'll give you one. We could also say both of our opinions are actually Kelly Dodd's opinions. So if you want,
they're Kelly Dodd's opinions.
You can blame Kelly on anything that we say today.
Yes. It's all Kelly's fault. All her people are going to come after me again. This is horrible. You're a troublemaker.
I'm so sorry. Listen, I feel free. I don't have to edit this. This is great.
All right. So we are going, first of all, let's catch up a little bit because we haven't done that in a long time. I think the last time I saw you was at our Cook and Kibitz with Doug Buden.
Yeah. You were awesome.
Yeah.
Like that. It's always so great to meet somebody that you've watched on television in real life. I mean, sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not so great. And you were one of the pleasant surprises where, you're like, oh my gosh, you're a normal person. You see somebody on television and you really forget that they're a normal person completely. Yeah. But I've met a lot of Bravo celebrities out there that you meet them and you're like, oh, this totally checks out how they're dramatic on screen. But then you were the exact opposite, where it was like, oh, it felt like hanging with a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that from a lot of people. I think that when I was on Miami, I was so guarded and I was so, I discuss that all the time. People who know me, it's like, you are nothing like you were on the show. And I was a long time ago, 2013, so that's 12 years ago. No social media, none of that. We only had Twitter. And I was a lawyer still practicing. I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of the legal community. I didn't want my girls to be ashamed of my behavior. And so, yeah, I sucked. And that's okay. It's better.
No, you didn't suck. I mean, I loved your daughters. But I will say, I always am confused covering these shows is in today, 2025. If you go onto one of these shows, you have to accept you will be embarrassed at some point.
Yes. And I think that that's part of it. I used to think that being a housewife you didn't require a skill set, but I changed my mind about that because it does require a certain skill set. It requires, number one, you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. That's one thing. You also have to kind of throw out sound bites, And like the pros know how to do it so that it doesn't sound rehearsed.
I call it giving good talking head, which is filthy.
Yes.
But it's like, that's the thing, is that you can tell somebody how they just spit out catchphrases. And sometimes for some people it's natural and some people really make a mess of it because they're trying so hard. So it's like this weird meditation that you have to go into, I would imagine, as a housewife. And especially it's interesting watching people into their second season, because if they have a highly praised first season, they completely fall apart in the second season when things get a little tougher, which that's why with Miami, it's going to be so interesting to see Stephanie in a second season because that's when everything starts coming out of the woodwork. So the first season, you can love them, but the second season is when they really prove their mettle.
And Stephanie came in like a wrecking ball. And I have to tell you, I do appreciate that about her. Everybody thinks that because...
Did you hear she has a private jet? Did you hear that?
Does she? Are you sure? Are you sure it's not like a fractional ownership in like the one Jeff goes on? Yes, I heard about the jet. But, speaking of the jet, this is just we'll get some gossip out of the way. So we do have an email address called realitycourtscoop@gmail.com where people will send me some intel. And so I have the tail number of the private plane. And I have an airplane tracker.
Are you tracking her jet?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am,
where has
in
it
fact,
been lately?
tracking the jet. Okay, I'm going to tell you. This is very suspicious to me. The plane, okay, they leave out of the executive airport, which is, where private planes leave, which is about an hour from their house, from where they live, okay? Orlando is 3 hours away. I don't know that it's worth it to take a private plane if you just have to drive 2 hours more, and you probably have drivers to do it. But it turns out that during Labor Day weekend, the plane was in Orlando, where her parents live. And it was there. It looks like, from what I saw, the whole weekend. And, Orlando doesn't say Labor Day to me, And so I am feeling like there's been some trouble in paradise, which I've gotten that information from others as well.
With Masood?
And with Masood, yes.
Oh, wow.
By the way, if that happens, guys, I predicted all of it. I told you I was doing a social service to her or to women in general by exposing some of these things. And maybe she was like, hey, you know what? She's right. Let me check into this. And said, went to her mom's house to either hide the Birkins or lick her wounds or whatever it may be. Okay. No, seriously. Ryan's freaking out. But see, Ace would be all
by the way,
over
you're going to
this
see that jet like flying over your house right now. You're like, it's literally
okay, well,
landed
good.
in my driveway.
Pick me up. So anyway, so the jet was there all weekend. And then suddenly they had this super romantic weekend in Acapulco that she posted everywhere that looked an awful lot like overcompensation to me. So I think there was a problem, some kind of problem. Again, my opinion, definitely not Ryan's opinion. There was an issue. She flew home to the parents for Labor Day weekend. The plane was there the whole time. And then they went to Acapulco. He went, grovel, whatever they do, when you're 7,000 years older than the girl. And you bestow lots of gifts and say, I promise I'll get it up this weekend. And then they went to Acapulco.
Wait, would she be able, though, if a big fight happens, would she still feel comfortable taking that private jet?
Have you met Stephanie? Have you met her?
I don't, you know what? I just watch her on the show and I don't even follow her on Instagram. So this is great intel.
Right. Well, that's a rhetorical question. Have you met her? Have you met the character of who she is on TV? Of course she'd take the plane. That's her fucking plane. Do you get any doubt that it's her plane?
No,
it's her plane.
It checks out. Yeah. She
That's
took
who
it to go pick up her dog,
Right. And to take the girls, and it was $40,000 for a 20-minute flight from, where were they? At Sevilla to Marbella.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But I feel like if you have a private jet, it's like taking steroids. It's unfair. It's an unfair advantage. Yeah. But it will come back to bite her in the butt eventually because you can see the audience is kind of just like, enough with the money already. And that's what I love. Usually the audience will even things out because even if you think you're winning in the scene or the episode, you usually lose the audience. And I think that's what's really interesting to hear.
The other day when I was on Jeff and we were talking about this, he said, I've never heard him say this about anybody except maybe Gina, who he doesn't love Gina, we know. he was like, Gina. No, Stephanie's an asshole. And I'm like, what? It was just so funny. It rubs people the wrong way. That whole kind of boasting.
You need those characters on shows like this.
You need them.
So she's a great, I think she's a great addition. But I'm so curious how she thinks she did this first season and if the audience reaction has humbled her at all or if she's kind of sashayed that away and goes, oh, I don't care. I know best.
A lot of what happens outside of the show is as interesting what happens on the show. And she recently did a whole post or several post stories about how people thought she was flexing, but she was just, I don't know, it was some kind of I don't remember exactly, but some kind of explanation for, you call it boasting, I call it whatever. You know,
I
she
call it just
basically
living my
doubled
normal
down.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, she doubled down. She did not say, oh, I can see how that could look, you know, whatever. Or
Yeah.
she didn't blame production for putting all these things together in rapid succession. No, she didn't do that. She just said, this is how badass women live, you know? Her and Anastasia, who has a billion, you know, they're the same. They're the same.
So if you're a woman without a private jet, does that mean you're not a badass woman?
Of course, you're not. You know,
Okay, wow.
I have been walking around this planet for so many years thinking I was a badass woman. And then Stephanie came on the scene and I'm like, what even am I?
Yeah, what do you
What even am? Sometimes I don't even get upgraded.
So, Stephanie's made me even question my manhood, and
me too.
I'm a man, but I drive a Toyota. Like, I feel completely humbled by Stephanie.
Right. Listen, I'll tell you one thing about Stephanie, and I don't think is conjecture. I think she truly has a pair of balls with hair on them. I really do, and I'll have you know that if Masood fucked with her and hid certain things, which I don't know. Again, this is just, you know, just thinking like things that could possibly be. It's not going to be good for him. She's going to come back. Yeah, no, honestly, I'm rooting for her.
Listen,
if that's
in my
the
mind,
case.
What I hear though is that, you know, you're going potentially so hard that next season, do we see you enter the scene?
No.
Because the podcast, it'll be like, I need to confront Anna about what she's saying about my hairy balls on this podcast.
I think Stephanie would listen to this and say, she's right. I do have hairy balls and they're big.
I think she would say, I like the balls, but I shaved. I think they're very,
maybe she manscapes or whatever, but she has both a big dick and big balls. I'm telling you that for sure.
Masood manscapes her, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I just got a mental picture of that, Ryan.
Sorry, guys. Don't leave a bad rating. Sorry.
So this is what I've heard, that there was some trouble in paradise, and I don't know that I confirmed it. I did track the plane, and the plane was in fact in Orlando. And then there was this very romantic trip, just the two of them, to Acapulco, that looked a lot to me like a reconciliation. That's just my observations. And this is all happening on social media, not on the show. So let's talk about this week's episode. One more thing that happened on social media.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you too, actually, because I don't know if you've talked about this already, but I want to know what the skinny is, because I think it was Bravo and Cocktails, that Instagram account, said something about maybe Teresa, Giudice, I always say her name wrong, Teresa potentially going to Real Housewives of Miami. And, because her and Louis are always there, they're on the cover of Miami
They're buying a
Monthly.
place.
Right, they're buying a place. And then even yesterday, I see her posting a picture with Alexia, Marysol, Julia. And maybe that's, in my warped way of thinking, maybe that's a way to get her away from Jersey and let that cast do what they want. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I also read that Miami was already picked up for another season, which is wild to me, because I know it does good, but even in the nightly ratings, other shows do better. So if you're getting an early pickup, that would mean they think they have something in the bank and something amazing. So in my mind, if you have Teresa, that would give you an automatic renewal. What have you heard about this?
Well, look, I think that when it was renewed, and yes, Miami's first airing numbers aren't great, but their numbers, the streaming numbers, are really, really high. And first of all, when you have a city, a lot of the city is who watches the show, in addition to all the Housewives fans. But Miami is very much a part of their viewership. So they do everything on Cuban time. You know what I mean? You're not going to tell us when to watch. We'll watch later. It's that kind of thing. I also think that starting on Peacock, because Miami did start on Peacock, people got their Peacock subscription, and now they still have it because they have other shows. And it's like, no, I'm not going to go get cable to watch on Bravo when I have Peacock, I'll just wait a day. I honestly think it has something to do with that. The fact that they started on Peacock. And the fact that people watch, but they are watching, and I think the show has come a long way. I think the show is giving.
Show's fantastic. I mean,
yeah, so do I.
The colors, I think the low level squabbles between Ratchet and Wretched. I mean, these are the things that I
and
like
that you need
Housewives to fight about,
and that you need Duolingo to watch it.
Oh, well, and it's so much better. Well, to me, this is the kind of drama I prefer rather than the OC of it all, where you have to have a primer course on like past seasons and you're going into the production of something, or the Kiki Monique of it all. Like, I like that it is self-contained within these women. So I think it's amazing, but I always worry about getting new viewers, because I always tell people watch Miami, and it's still like pulling teeth because it's so hard for Bravo viewers sometimes to accept this isn't a new show, but sometimes it's still new to them because they didn't even watch the old iteration of Real Housewives of Miami.
Exactly.
So in my head, I was like, is there a world in which Teresa could jump franchises? That was, and then I'm like, she's obviously friendly with Alexia and Marysol.
And she's very good friends with Alexia. Very good friends with Alexia. And if you're friends with Alexia, then you're friends with her, her tail. But I think Teresa... I mean, come on.
Oh,
Marysol's a central brain. Marysol's a central brain there. I gotta
take
say.
a sip of my cocky while you said that. Yeah.
No, seriously, she's just like, oh, Alexia, define me. It's like, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like, Alexia needs to lose the dead weight, and it's not that much weight. We've seen her sitting with we've seen her. Oh my God. We've seen her sitting with an empty plate. Listen, for someone that claims to be so waspy and actually threatened to sue me because I said her boarding school was in West Palm Beach and not Palm Beach, there is nothing that etiquette teaches you more than don't sit at a table with an empty plate. Even Jacqueline Onassis talked about how she only ate in public and starved herself the rest of the time. She stopped.
So you're saying put a facade on because
because you put a facade on for everything else.
But I like that there's an empty plate there because it gives us something to talk about. Like it gives us. Those are those little details that I think the Bravo audience and us, depraved viewers were like, oh my God, look at that empty plate. Everybody else has food, and she doesn't. And so then I'm here on this like health journey and I'm dieting and I'm just like, she gets it. Just drink your calories. Nice.
Right. And yes, I agree with that. That's great for TV and for fodder. But then don't get mad that people don't really believe that you're waspy and preppy. Because this is the whole thing. Like her whole preppy party, it's like, you wouldn't even know how to spell preppy, girl. Like, let's be honest. You are from the drug dealer years of Miami in the 80s. That's what she is. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, Alexia, I feel like Alexia is even more so, right? With the cocaine cowboy of it all.
Yeah.
So the Marysol, but if Teresa came on there, you have Teresa and Alexia they're very similar in my head in certain ways and how they process information and how they are, you can, finally it'll click and then they'll fully activate. So, I mean, I don't know. I just saw that and I was doing a little fan casting in my head and goes, would that be something of interest for Miami viewers? And would that ever so you still haven't said, have you heard anything about this?
Yes.
And can you confirm or deny?
Well, I can't confirm it 100%, but I have heard about it. I think Teresa's hedging her bets because, Teresa made a lot of money. That was a big paycheck. Miami's not going to pay her $99,000 an episode. It's not going to happen. Okay. Because these other girls are getting 30, the OGs, the other ones were getting 16. I don't know if they got the 5% increase this past season, but that's what it was. And, but hey, 30 is better than nothing. And when she went on Jeff, she talked about this potential reconciliation, which might be too little too late.
Kind of, yeah. Don't you see? That's the other thing is that Bravo viewers that have watched Jersey from the beginning, even if that, reaching out is made and like, let's forgive each other, would Bravo viewers really buy it? Or would
No.
we just think we're being sold a bill of goods of like, you're just doing this for
Right.
the paycheck? We want to believe in the reality of these scenarios, as crazy as they are, or at least I do. So we watch this kind of like, well, that's what they're doing on camera, but you can tell they truly hate each other. And I don't know, like sometimes I think so much, water has gone under the bridge that I don't know if I would ever buy Melissa and Teresa or Margaret and Teresa making up.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would have to be a very genuine thing, and it would have to be led more by the relationship that Teresa has with her brother and has always had with her brother, and
Yeah.
remembering how important family was to their parents, and
Yeah.
that angle could tug at some heartstrings, and I think that's possible, and kind of the rest is just agree to disagree. But I think it's going to be tough, and that's why I think she's hedging her bets. I think Miami would take her with open arms. I'd love to see her on Miami. I don't have a problem with her on Miami. Why not? Teresa's
I want to see her
iconic.
on Vanderpump Rules. Put her over there. I mean,
Yeah,
put her
yeah,
anywhere. I mean, she's on Special Forces on Fox next week doing that SEAL Team
right.
6. I mean, she's out there
Yes,
working. So it'll be, I mean,
which
listen, no matter what you think about Teresa, she's a legend. It's just
she
that, does
is.
she work on Jersey? And do you either build a new show around her, or does she do something else or do a spinoff? And, you go with the ladies that are already there, because Jersey, even at its worst, was still getting really big ratings.
Sure, yeah. So this is what I think about that. I think that it started where she felt very confident when everything split up that the show could not come back without her. That was stage one. Stage two was she's going to get her own show, and her and Gia were going to open a restaurant. Then Gia got Next Gen, and Next Gen has really just given her so much that she no
Yeah.
longer wants to open a restaurant, right? So now she credits Gia and Special Forces for having given her the time and the opportunity to think about these things that are important, like family and reconciling and not holding on to all these grudges. And then Jeff kind of helped her and said, you should reach out first. 'Cause he's really good at that,
He did that
like to say
really
it was,
well. You guys,
he
they
did
were on
that
Jeff
really
Lewis
well.
last week, and he was
Yeah,
he was very, like kind of personal about it, and he wasn't pushy or
he's
making
great at that.
jokes. And yeah, it was like, it's really great when he downshifts and really gets through to somebody, like I think he did.
And kind of gives her an excuse to say, I was just going to put the olive branch out there, but not really. Like, he was telling her, no, you do it, and gave an
Yeah.
example of when he did it. And then now that gives her an excuse to say, I took Jeff's advice. So, but I really think she's hedging her bets. If it's not one thing, it's another. And
Maybe
yeah, why
Teresa
not?
goes on the Flipping Out reboot. Who knows?
Right. And I'll tell you one thing, somebody that's not going to like it, who's going to pretend she loves it, is Marysol. Marysol does not like anybody else being friends with her cash cow. There is no way. She doesn't like Stephanie getting close to Alexia, and she's not going to like Teresa being on the same show, because she still thinks she can be a full-time housewife. And maybe she will be, by the way. I don't know. She certainly kisses enough ass to be, to the producers to
Well,
be.
I mean, to your point, that's why their budget is so funny, because they've really strung along a lot of these, housewives that we consider housewives, but they're friend of in terms of paycheck, like Adriana and Marysol
Yes.
and Kiki. I mean, it's like very interesting. And that's just goes to show you, a lot of people think if you're on Bravo, you're rich all of a sudden, and it's like the exact opposite. In
No,
fact, I think pay has gone
no.
down over the years.
It has gone down, and it also, a lot of people think that every show is done by the same production company. And of course, we know that not to be true. Every show has their own production company. Some production companies, like 32 Flavors, have everything, but most
Yeah.
of them do just, so Pop will do this. They do Married to Medicine, another really good show. But they're cheap as hell. They're cheap as
Yeah.
hell. I'm telling you, I've been there. And so I think the way it works, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe it's like this. Bravo will buy the show, give you a certain budget, and then they get to keep whatever's left over to go to foam parties in Ibiza,
So that's
wearing their
why if you have
Speedos.
somebody like Stephanie who has their own private jet, that's great, because it
Oh,
doesn't
they
come out
love
of their
that too.
budget.
Right. They love that too. And because so they've been very smart, and they've coined the phrase super friends to appease these women who appear in every episode for $1,000 an episode.
Yes.
It's brilliant
because they then think it helps their ancillary businesses on the side. And sometimes it does, but even like Whitney on Salt Lake City, who's a full-time cast member, her storyline on the premiere was like, my business is completely failed. I put so many people, I lost millions. And it was so refreshing to hear one of these housewives talk about that not everything is wine and roses, that not everything is a success, and there's only so much skincare that you can push,
Going back to this whole thing with the Super Friends, I do think that they've figured it out on how to keep these people, appease them while keeping them on a very low daily or episode rate. I think if you know how to parlay the friendship role into something bigger, the friendship role is a gift. It really is.
I mean, and Adriana, like, she's a friend of, but I think, she's had some wonky moments like she always does, but she's turned into be such a bright spot of this season, is that when you take this lesser role, you actually end up shining sometimes. You don't have the heavy lifting sometimes that these full-time cast members do. You can be a little looser, and I think the audience will sometimes respond to that better.
And speaking of Adriana, she also recently posted, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, a whole post on her Instagram feed, her talking into the camera and actually saying that something that reality, I love Reality Blurb. I love look at the stuff they post, and I think they're very good and they're very on top of it. If I want to know something that's happening, I look to Reality Blurb. So it's weird that Reality Blurb got something wrong, but she's claiming, like, get your story straight, and then proceeded to apologize to Todd, which I thought was funny.
Wait, what did she Wait, what was
this?
The
Is
specifics
now.
of the apology? But what did she apologize about?
You can look at your phone. Like, look at it. Take a second.
Wow, Todd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But is she apologizing to Todd to get at Alexia? Because they're done now, right?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you why.
Have you tracked Todd's private jet?
No, he doesn't have a private jet. He does have. I put a low jack on his Rolls Royce that apparently somebody drives him around in, where he talks about being, how to become affluent and how to whatever. I don't dislike Todd. Todd is a bit of a Guido, but I like Todd.
But he's just so intense when he does those 20-minute explanation videos.
No, that was a lot.
You're like, are you selling me a condo or are you apologize? I mean, like, it's a very, and then it's like that normal male thing where they're like, do you want to be a housewife? Because you are exhibiting housewife qualities when you fight this much in the press, Yeah,
he's got a little bit of a misogynistic vein, tiny, that I think that he's smart enough to overcome. But, I did think in his last long-winded thing about suing, I guess, the production company, I thought he sounded very credible. I really did. And I think a lot of the things he said are probably true. I don't know how successful he'll be. You guys, you sign a contract. It's a draconian contract. It's the only way I can explain it. I remember when I got my first contract, I'm like, what? And if I didn't sign it, 20 people behind me would have been happy to sign it.
Oh, yeah. I always say housewives these days, it's like auditioning for Saturday Night Live. Like, they literally will buy things, flaunt wealth that they potentially don't have, so it makes them look more attractive on these shows. So then we should never be surprised when that all falls apart. And I always want to know how cognizant the production companies are that they're being lied to, that they're being sold a bill of goods, but they think, okay, it's fine because it's going to look good on camera.
Yeah, I don't think they care. I think, these shows are personality driven. We know that if the person has a good personality, they are going to be okay with the smoke and mirrors. I will tell you, when they came to me, I remember verbatim what I said. I said, I don't understand why you want me. I am a working stiff. Okay. I have to go to work every day. I am not planning my next facial, my next aromatherapy treatment. That's just not who I am. Oh no, you're a breath of fresh air or whatever. It's like, it's boring. It's boring. So we don't care how they get it, but we want to see it. We want to see how the other half lives, for lack of a better way of explaining it. And if it's somebody that goes to work every day and is like, looking through the sales rack at Alice and Olivia, it's not that interesting, This is just a fact.
To your point about Todd being well-spoken and that, it's like, I think that's obviously not his problem. He's a good speaker. Like, he speaks passionately. He, hits all of his points. I mean, it's a little long-winded like me, but he really gets there. But the thing is, my thing, even in his apology video, I just want somebody to tell me what's the truth and what isn't. Like what, because you're saying that a lot of what we're seeing is fake. And I accept that sometimes you have to refilm entrances and exits, and obviously who you're going to be in the scene with. But if I'm watching something that is all completely staged, I don't want Todd to participate in it. Like, if you have such high morals, don't tell me afterwards, just refuse to do it in the first place. Like, I get frustrated when I feel like it's already elevated reality, and then when I find out something is completely fake, it really it bums me
upsetting.
out. And I know that's childish of me, but it's a
no,
bummer.
But you want to feel. Look, I do think that like he gave her a storyline with the divorce. I don't think that. I still don't believe she was as blindsided as she thought she was, because you get signs. Your husband just doesn't leave one day. There must have been conversations.
How do you move out with Frankie still there?
Well, he said Frankie wasn't there.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
he
that's
said
what
Frankie wasn't there.
The detail that I just kind of want clarification. And I do wonder, since that was out there, will this be spoken about at the reunion? Because this episode, I didn't even realize the finale's next week.
Yeah. And we can talk a little bit about the reunion and about what they're teasing and saying is this explosive surprise at the reunion. I can't share with you, but it's one of two things.
It's not Teresa.
No, I don't think it's no. Okay. It's not Teresa. And I think it either is something that Stephanie says or that Adriana says, and it's not Stephanie quitting either.
Is it Dr. Schmacole? Does it rhyme with Dr. Schmacole?
Schmacole.
Yeah.
Remember that show, Schmishmortion? Does it rhyme with Schmishmortion? I'm just telling you, it's one of those two things, and just remember that I said it first.
Okay, I remember.
I know also that Marysol decided that in order to garner some sympathy from people, which she doesn't normally garner because she's always drunk, she tried to say that now she has to have plastic surgery for her knees, and that she's doing all these treatments because it affected her self-esteem.
Wrinkly knees?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Knees.
Well, it's so funny how age really does become a storyline for some of these ladies, which I think is actually very, normalized. And certainly all ladies have these kind of issues, but it is interesting with Adriana saying wrinkly knees, and then Adriana being pissed that we find out in this episode that Kiki's the one that put the birthday cake of like 33 times 2 minus.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow.
Exactly. And somebody described it as algebra. This is how smart these women are.
That's their heads hurt. I mean, doing basic math on a cake is hard. But Adriana, she truly looks amazing. For like, I did not realize that was her age, Like,
yeah,
you're like, it makes sense. But you're like, oh my God, I look older than Adriana. Like, this is insane. Like, she should be flaunting that like nobody's business.
She should.
Amazing.
Yeah, she looks incredible. But it's like I was talking about this a couple of episodes ago. You can look one way on the outside, but your insides, your brain, your heart, the mileage in your life, emotional life, is still 59 years old. And that's a lot, This is why I know that I couldn't do that today. It doesn't matter how you look. It's just that my mental health will not allow it.
Anna, I got to push back on that. You're telling me you couldn't do that today, yet you and Ace do a podcast where you talk about some controversial topics. You kind of get into the mix a little bit. So to me, that my show is pretty silly. Like, I feel like there's some good news, some good pop culture, but I'll get really silly. I'll do stupid voices, all of that stuff. I don't break news like you guys break news. And I also realize when I've done that in the past, I get I get nervous. I get weird emails. It affects my mental health. So if you can do this, how are you saying you would never do that?
Easy. I'm the one that edits this. My big bombing this last season or whatever season.
Oh, that was
last
wild.
season. This person who doesn't shut the fuck up, this person who has never minced a word in her life, was a little wallflower afraid to speak. Yeah. So never again.
That was so disappointing. Again. It was like edging the viewer of like, are we going to do this or not? Like, why are you here if we're not going to do this? And so as a fan, you're sitting there going, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then they downshift and you're like, why are you even there in the...
Marysol. To protect Marysol.
Would you ever have Marysol as a guest and just hash it out on this podcast?
No. I would have Alexia, but not Marysol.
Mama Elsa, Alexia, do not haunt me from up above. I'm so.
By the way, Mama Elsa knew who her daughter was. I can tell you that she loved her. I love my children. I love I can be honest and tell you that my granddaughter. Oh my God, I'm afraid for the world because she is a trip. She's 3 years old and she's like, I can just tell that she's going to be one of these ball busters her whole life. But Elsa, despite all the problems that Marysol had with Leah Black, she loved Leah. Okay? Just like Alexia's ex-husband, Herman, loved Leah. And she didn't like that whole thing back then. So I think Elsa, you love people in spite of themselves. I just don't think that she was fooling anyone. And I think it's starting to come out that she's not fooling anyone anymore.
So your perspective is very different than how she presents herself on the show, because you can tell when she's bothered, or even in this one with Stephanie, like blaming almost Alexia on the Marysol and her relationship. But you're saying we're not seeing the full Marysol.
No, I know her well. No, you never have. I know her very well. And the thing about these women, the ones that I know well, is that it's very easy to predict their behavior and it's very easy to know when they're lying. I would do that. I would do that with Stephanie. I just told somebody recently, get me Masood. I want to have him on the podcast.
Would you have Marcus Jordan? Would you have Marcus Jordan on the podcast?
What for? Like, how does it feel to be your father's biggest disappointment? I mean, God. What do I say to him? What do I say to him? What does he do that's interesting?
You can get it Larsa that way, That'll upset Larsa.
You know what? I find Larsa so boring that I don't even care.
It's so interesting, Larsa, on this show. And, when people needle her, that's when she kind of gets a little more exciting. But all of that storyline between her and Lisa and the Instagram of it all and Marcus, I'm just always just like, just tell me how you feel. It's always some big secret. You're not Madonna. You're
changes.
Not like, it doesn't have to be some mystery. Just tell us point blank how you feel. And I never feel like I get a firm grasp on who Larsa is. I mean, even this, we're seeing her house. She talks about her kids. Her kids seem like pretty well-adjusted.
Yeah, her kids are good kids. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not saying anything about her as a mother, but I just never get a grasp on who she fully is. And it's very different than how she initially came on Miami at the very beginning. Yeah. And so you're like, what are we getting here? And she'll never...
I think Larsa is still figuring out who she is. I really do. I think that she likes to be an enigma, but I think it's just buying her time to figure it out.
But I just think it would be so refreshing, and this is just not in her DNA, to actually see her scared, to see like, I don't know where my life is going. I'm in fear of these things. And yeah, that's just not who we've ever seen. So it's ridiculous to want that. But sometimes it would just be so nice because you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you're at a fashion show overseas and you're like getting into it with Jody of all people. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I don't know why these people don't realize that sometimes peeling back the layers helps you connect with the audience a lot more, because there's a lot of women watching that are maybe in their early 50s and wondering, I'm not married, I'm not whatever. You know what? I'm scared. Am I going to end up alone? Am I going to what? We all have those feelings. Why not discuss it? Why not be open about it? For me, Larsa and Julia are the least interesting people in this whole show. So that's why I would welcome a Teresa any day of the week. I don't see Julia coming back.
I'm with you on that one. I'm so sorry to Julia, but like the Julia and Martina, and she's another one where there's obviously a real behavior that we don't see on camera. you hear enough things about her, and obviously, it unleashed a little bit with Gertie earlier in the season, but there's another one where I'm not getting the full Julia. Like, you really get that sense because there seems to be a lot of flirtations off camera or anger or just things that she wants to cover up and hide, which is sometimes interesting because you're waiting for that to break. You're waiting for information to come out to see how they react to it. But I hate to say this, I think I'm done with Julia after this season.
No, yeah. I think most people are done with Julia. And I did the podcast the other day with Gibson John, and he goes, do you realize we recapped an entire episode and never mentioned Julia? I skipped through that part. I don't know why. There's just something that I know you're trying to fool me, and I haven't figured you out, but in the process, I lost interest.
Yeah.
I lost interest in whatever
you can only wait
the thing
so
is.
many years to like kind of get the grasp of who somebody is. And it gets a little repetitive for the audience. And I still can't wrap my head around, if you didn't tell your kids that you were adopting 2 new sons, that would obviously cause a rift. And then, I think that's an obvious thing. And we're not fully getting all the details of that.
Right. And I also, in that scene in this episode, it seems like Martina has lost her patience with this whole nonsense, She's actually kind of said some things that made the daughters look not so great as well. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. I mean, Martina,
she's firm. You're like,
yeah, she's tough.
Yeah, she's tough, and she does.
The Masood and
says,
Martina spinoff should be happening on Peacock.
Oh my God, how funny is that? I used to something about her arms. He was like flirting with Martina. So weird.
I know.
Weird.
It is so funny. Like, I'm not into tennis, but it is always so funny when like you can tell like obviously Martina's a legend in tennis, but those guys really flock to Martina.
So, yeah. Oh, they really do. I mean, she is a legend. And I know that for a long time that, Andy was thrilled that Martina was there. But I think some of Martina's public statements have hurt that a lot. And I thought that was how Julia was going to stay on the show just because he liked Martina so much. But no, I think
that's out. The way Andy has had his children, like that's so inflammatory, her comments, and I think just hurtful overall. That I don't
very hurtful.
It's like Housewives. You want conflict and resolution. I want a conversation where Martina can understand how hurtful those comments can be and why that they're not true at the end of the day. That surrogacy should be able to happen for everybody.
For everybody.
It's very hard when somebody takes such a hardline stance that you're like, there's nowhere to go from here.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think of Larsa's, it's a huge house. Yeah. What did you think of the gummy bear sculpture pretending to be a coon? What did you think?
Pretending to be a coon. Well, listen, that's to your point. She wants to be younger. She wants to be the cool, like, look at me. Look at what I have. I have a big coon's gummy bear in the back of my, look how young
it's
and
not
hip
coons.
I am. Yeah, it's not coons, but like I'm shocked she doesn't have like graffiti art somewhere. Like it's like you have this
I'm
nice
sure
house.
she might.
It's okay to like I don't know. I mean, we've seen.
I mean, she can invite some of her boyfriends to finger paint the walls.
Oh my God! I thought you were about to say something way off. I was like, finger what? I was like, finger paint. Okay,
finger paint.
Okay, I was like, my God, Anna, please. This is a family show we're doing right now. No, I don't know.
Listen.
Like Justin Bieber has that stuff at his place. It made me laugh. It was very Larsa.
Yeah, I would go there and give her a little Jackson Pollock thing if she wants. I thought.
Wait, I will say this. Has anybody seen Marcus Jordan's backyard? Is there a coon's gummy bear in his backyard?
Oh, maybe.
Because that would be interesting to see if she is trying to, in some way, emulate Marcus.
Well, if he is, he'll tell us because he's 12 years old. You know what I mean? Like the way that he's like, the way that they were fighting with each other when they broke up on social media was not very mature. But I'll tell you, I thought they were really, really into each other when they were together.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. And I mean, listen, they even went on the Traitors together. If you're doing competition reality series, that's pretty serious. That's in reality.
And that long-lived and that long-lived podcast.
Oh, by the way, the podcast would be 10 minutes, you guys, and then 25 minutes of commercials. And you're like, what are we even doing? You know how like it's not like the easiest thing to do a podcast, but it's also not the hardest thing. And the way they were doing it, and I'm like, why are you're just slapping ads on something. It's such a cash grab.
I know. It is. It's horrible. And you know what? The audiences don't love that either. So, which is why some podcasts do well and some, it isn't easy, by the way. It does require a certain level of dedication and really consistency, because it doesn't make money at first. It takes a while. And so you have to love it. And you have to take pride in it. That's why it's so frustrating when you have these housewives or Bravo celebrities. It's like the Bravo celebrity pipeline to podcasting is so strong, but not everybody should have a podcast. So you feel really cheated because they're already given an opportunity with so much promotion with their platform and because of who they are. And then when they're bad on top of that, it's very frustrating. Like some of these will come out and they're like, oh, you're really good at this. But the majority of them, there's no real reason. And then eventually you see it peter off because they don't have the stamina to do a once a week show, which is wild. It is. It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. What else can we... So I'm obsessed with Jody. I don't like people to talk bad about Jody. I love Jody.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, like, sorry his eyes are set that way in his face, but, like, it doesn't mean he's on... No, I'm serious. Is that, like, people are like, oh, he's on drugs. No, it's just his eyes are placed in a very... Yeah, I don't believe so at all either. And it's like me. Like, I look weird in pictures. It's not because I'm on something. It's because I look weird. Like, and he still is a handsome dude. His eyes
is very handsome.
It's like the one guy from The Valley. I don't know if you watched that show. Was one of the girls, Michelle's boyfriend, who sold honey. He had some like really intense eyes, and I was like, guys, he just has like weird eye. Everybody's like saying he looks sickly and stuff, and I'm just like, this is why it really is hard to be on television, because they'll find that one part of your face or your body, and then it becomes this recurring joke. Right. But Jody's always just sitting there, and he seems like, obviously really helped Lisa through all of this. He's even allowing cameras to be in it, and he's kind of soft-spoken. And I don't know, like, he gets shit on so much that it is turned into kind of a joke.
Yeah, and it's also not fair, because he is a good guy. He's a decent guy. He does not live off her. He has made his own money. He's very successful in his own right. But I did like how I don't like to say handles somebody because that sounds wrong. But yes, the way he's handled the whole Lisa thing with wanting to be engaged and everything else. I know that feeling. You get divorced and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you want to run for cover. You want to feel like, again,
that you're protected.
You want to, that you're protected. And I find him so level-headed, and so just smart, the way he said, look, Lisa, he's afraid. He's proceeding with caution. And I liked what he told her.
As he should.
He should.
There is no way he should be running into this full force. I mean, he's already done so much. He's actively involved, even in her divorce when they were, overseas on that trip. He's saying, like, you need to find a notary public. Like, he has taken on a lot in still a relatively short amount of time. And you've got to make sure those things are real, that the relationship is real. And who knows, Lisa in a year from now could wake up and go, listen, I just have to admit, I'm still not over my previous marriage. I'm just not, I can't get there, because that was so quick. And your heart and your mind, new feelings get unlocked as time goes on.
100%. And I also thought, I love Lisa. Everybody that listens knows I love Lisa. I find her to be just kind of very honest, a little bit of a Pollyanna. I had to explain to Ace what that was. Ace doesn't know words
Come on,
that
Ace.
weren't.
You don't
Ace didn't know words that. He does. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's from the 1900s or the 1800s. I'm like, yeah. He's so funny. So yeah, I like that about her. And I like that she does acknowledge, I know what I have to do. Like, I know what I have to do and I'm going to work on it. And I thought that was a very genuine thing. Like, it was nice. Then we also see Art Basel, my least favorite event in Miami. It figures that these girls would like it. It's just, I hate it.
Wait, isn't Art Basel the one where Larsa saw Kanye West's penis? Wasn't that an Art Basel? Wasn't that a
Oh,
storyline like
yes, I
two
think
seasons
so.
ago? And
Sure,
it was
yeah.
at an Art Basel after party or
Event.
something that she said she
Mm-hmm.
saw Kanye. And I was like, why is nobody throwing that back into Larsa's face and bringing that up now? Because I believe that was a storyline 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Art Basel always has played a role. You know, that's Adriana's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
She really does know a lot about art. And in
She
my
does.
year, it was when Karen, she beat me to the tweet. I don't know if you remember that, but
I totally, you stole my good tweet. I remember that. That was a great episode. You
she
guys, if you
beat
haven't seen
me
that
to the
episode, go to
tweet.
Peacock. It was, I remember I did interview Karen like years ago and
I
I
love
brought
Karen.
that up. Oh no, she was
Yeah,
fantastic, you know?
yeah,
And you don't really, you don't hear anything about her these days. Or in terms of like Bravo, which is kind of refreshing in some ways where it's like,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
She's
But that
not
was such a
interested, you
great
know?
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was on
No.
ours not long ago, and she's great. I really like her, but that was such a funny episode, and so I'm glad nobody tried to step over her moment. And I do think, you know, I think it's so interesting the things she says, like as she said about the artist that he has the brushstrokes of what was it, a Rembrandt with the creativity of Dali. You know, it's like I just saw a painting
Yeah.
that could have been in a hotel room. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
I was
really
like,
know. Like I don't really know.
This has the brush strokes of me finding it at Goodwill, and will now put it on my dorm room wall. No, like it is, you know, that's why Adriana gets like made fun of sometimes, and then you realize, like, wow, like she knows all this about art, you know,
No,
like
she's
whatever
very
you
smart.
think. You know, she's pushed her music career. I mean, she has her hands in a lot of things, and so I feel like it is really funny when all of these women feel free to like undercut her or poke fun at her, and I'm like, she's a little bit of a force, and I
She
like that she
is.
is a foil for some of these other ladies. But even how we end this episode with her complain, you know, like really like, I didn't mean anything racist about it. It's like, nobody thinks you did. Don't get tripped
No.
up in this. Like, that is so
Well,
weird. Don't.
honest. Okay, that maybe. I do think Kiki tried to make it racist. I really do. I really do. But then again, her using the trope of I have a black best friend to you know
Yeah, yeah,
overcome the
yeah.
fact that anybody would think she like let's just not like Gertie said, talk less. Talk less.
No,
Just talk less.
yeah. But see, that's what's great about Housewives is nobody will ever talk less, and I guess that's what you want.
Right.
But I also love that
Right.
like Kiki disappeared, like she was an apparition. Like nobody could find Kiki. She just like walked out of
Did
there, and I was like, oh my god, is there like black magic involved? Is she like
No,
did she,
did
like
you
a
see?
witchcraft?
I have to
What
watch
did I?
that again. I thought she went up to an Amazon driver and asked him, "Can you give me a ride?" Did I make
It
this
was
up?
some-
This happened.
No, no, no. It was in there, but I'm saying I love that they were like, she just disappeared out of thin air.
Yeah.
Like they were just like,
Yeah.
I don't see her anywhere, and I just thought that was hysterical to
So
throw
funny.
that bomb and
So
to
funny.
leave. And Adriana's sitting there like flipping out about it and
Yeah.
so frustrated. And I think that's great reality television.
Yeah. I gotta say, my favorite part of the show that wasn't part of this show, but it was the recap from last time when Stephanie said that Marysol's a jealous demon who disguises herself as a very loyal friend. And I really
wrote
think
that
Stephanie
down,
and I
yeah.
can be friends. I think Stephanie and I
Yeah,
can be
by the way, of
friends.
course you would love that she said that about Marysol. My God, of course. But I thought that, yeah, Marysol is a jealous demon who's disguised herself as a loyal friend. I wrote that down because I thought that was, that's almost poetic in a sense.
Yeah, it is almost poetic. Look, I think the show is giving a lot. I think we're all very excited about the reunion. I do think I know what it is, but at the same time, I kind of hope I don't. I want to be shocked by it. But we'll see. I might tell you
Well,
off the record.
Yeah, tell me off. Yeah, tell me off the record. I'm pretty good with secrets, but I will say like the Julia Adriana stuff, and it's like Adriana, let Julia go. Julia is a fair weathered friend. You gotta let her go. You can't keep going like you're my friend. No, that's done, and you should have known that's been
Best
done
friend.
for a while.
How many best
I
friends do
remember
people
it.
have?
Coming over to the farm, all this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not in high school too. Like, I mean, do you still like? I will say I do refer to my high school friend as my best friend, but then I realize
I
like,
do
that's so
too.
funny. But it's so funny as you get older, you're like, you're my best friend. You know,
Yeah.
it's such
I
a
do have
elementary school concept.
I do have one best friend who is, you know, just she will help me bury a body and I will help her bury a body. And if you met her, you would never think that I'm her best friend or that she's mine, because we could not be more different in many ways. She's very low key. She's very whatever. She's, I will say that she is the most powerful woman in banking. She was just named that not long ago. So I always mock her about that. But, you know, she's straight laced and very, and, you know, we were in the Highlands not long ago and I was complaining about something and she's so proper. And I'm like, how do you become the most powerful woman in banking without ever being a Karen about something? It's like, no, I don't do that. She's just so.
Well, I think what you just admitted to the audience is that you both have buried bodies.
We buried bodies, yeah, but you'll never find them because she's so smart, and you know, I can be pretty clever, and so yeah.
Well, do you think this reality? Do you think the finale? Do you think the finale of Miami? They're setting it, because I'm like, I was really surprised at the end to be like, next week on the season finale. I thought we had a couple more to go. So really, what are we setting the finale up to see? So we have Adriana and Kiki obviously fighting about the cake. We have Alexia, Marysol, and Stephanie in a fight of, because, you know, she tried to throw Alexia under the bus to Marysol. So does that mean Marysol and Alexia are going to get into it next episode? You know, then the Julia of it all. How does this all? And then, by the way, Gertie seems to have disappeared for all intents and purposes in terms of storyline, for having one of the strongest storylines in the very beginning, and she's already taken a backseat in the second part of the season. So what is this all leading up to, and will this be a great finale or a so-so finale that leads into a great reunion?
I have some suspicion. I know things that happened at that finale that I don't know if they're going to include, but I will include it next week because I have some intel on some stuff that happens there. I don't know if it was filmed or if it's part of the reunion, but it could be, and then it could be a little bit more explosive, or it could just be a lot of the same. You know, I think Alexia and Stephanie end up in a good place. I want to say, I don't think Marysol and Stephanie end up in a good place.
And with the preview for next week, we're going to have Alexia's son saying, "You better not be with Todd."
Yeah, you know, we touched on the Todd and Alexia thing, and I said that I wasn't sure if they were together because not long ago she did an interview, which was like either an Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood or something like that. And she was talking about how she loved Todd, past tense, and how Todd, thinking of him like actually grosses her out, and that she thinks he's the devil. She actually said he was the devil. So, and then when she was on Watch What Happens Live, she talked about how painful it was that Marysol, you know, said those things about Todd, which, by the way, I think that Marysol says that about Todd because I think Todd has her number. But she said, I love Todd, not past tense.
Oh.
So I have a feeling that that's not over.
So you're saying Todd could be a super friend next season?
I don't think Todd will ever be on that show again.
Todd's done. After he talked that way about
Todd's
production,
done.
I wouldn't let him anywhere. Yeah.
Right. But I don't think Alexia and Todd are done. I don't think Alexia and Todd are done.
When Todd throws those tantrums online, it affects her bottom line. I mean, this affects her now, like the way she makes money.
Well, yeah, but he's still paying for everything. You know, that little Hermes bag she showed up at Larsa's house, that gift, Todd paid for that, I assure you. He pays her rent. He pays everything. Yeah. Yeah, they had a financial agreement.
Wow. Todd, if you're listening, I'm a size 44 in jacket and would love...
Not for long.
I'm trying to go down. I'm hopefully a 42 by the time you send me something, Todd. I love you. Also, shout out to Stephanie. I don't want to get any paperwork from you. Love you. Love Masood. Marysol, love you as well. I love everybody. I just want to, I'm a peaceful kind of guy. Love everybody. Peace and love.
God, Ryan, you're so funny. I love you, Ryan. No, I already said that this is me. Listen, it's an occupational hazard. You know, I was a lawyer for a long time and I'm after the truth and I'm after justice. And
See, that's
this is a
like,
fun
I will
way.
say that it is hard. Like, even when I'm on my podcast, like, I really like to say how I really feel. And sometimes it's frustrating because saying how you really feel, you realize when it gets back to them, it hurts their feelings or it upsets them. And that's never my intent, but I do want to be honest. And like, listen, me watching this show, I understand that I don't get the 360 view of somebody, that I don't know their inner heart, all of their thoughts. But you also want to be honest with the audience. You don't want to lie to somebody. And that's why then sometimes when you meet them in real life and you realize either A, they're completely like who they are on TV, or B, they're putting on a character. The B, they're putting on a character, that's very frustrating as well, because then you're trying to tell people, listen, man, they're putting on an act right here, and they're trying to, and I want people that are real, for better or worse. Give me who you really are in real life.
Me too.
Don't try to hide things, because the more you try to hide, I think the more like spotlight it shines on it, where then production tries to dig it out and unearth those secrets.
Yep.
But yeah, those are the characters I love the most, the people that can't help but be themselves, even if it makes them unlikable.
Right. I agree with that. And, to me, ultimately, my my loyalty is to our listeners. It really is. I want them to give them something maybe somebody else wouldn't. I want to give them something that's entertaining to them. To me, this is not a popularity contest with the housewives. I have people that I like in earnest and people that I don't like, and I don't make a secret of it. And I don't care that they never want to come on my pod. Like, I don't care. There has to come
but what's great about it is that what I love about Bravo is that there is a fandom for everybody. Even if you don't like somebody, there's a fandom for that person. And there, like, there's a great equalizer that I sometimes am like, that's good. It's like we all have these differing opinions and we can talk about it. I love that. I love when somebody likes a character that I don't like, because I'm like, well, why do you like it? And it's really fun to hear.
And I don't have people on that agree with me all the time. On the contrary, a lot of people don't agree with me, and Ace doesn't always agree with me, and that's okay.
And that's why Ace got kicked off the show a couple weeks ago, you guys. And until Ace apologizes to Anna, then he can come back. It's not the baby, you guys. It's not the baby.
It's not the baby. That's fake. That's just an excuse.
He's following Cody Brown right now.
Yes, on Special Forces. We're dying to find out how he behaved on Special Forces.
I can't wait. I'm so excited to watch
I
that.
think that he was, apparently, Gia was talking about how you get a one cheat item that you can take with you, because you're not allowed to have makeup, you're not allowed to have anything. Yeah. And she wanted some wipes, and Teresa wanted, I forgot what it was, and that he had all. Well, I don't know if he brought the Bible, but he brought like a whole chest of stuff that were nutritional supplements, and with medical excuses that he needed that. You know what I mean? I'll have to have 180 grams of protein a day or whatever. I just wonder what it is. She said something like that, but didn't get too into it. But we're like dying to figure it out.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I was talking to my audience this week. I said, like, listen, you watch those shows because, like, I dislike Cody so passionately, but at the same time, he's such magnetic television. So you're watching him on Special Forces, so hopefully he gets taken down a notch and gets humiliated. And I'm okay, even though that sounds insane on my part. You watch these shows sometimes because you want to dislike somebody and you want to see them put in their place. And that's what those shows are good for.
Of course. 100%. And I think that we're going to see a Cody that's not giving up and, is going to be a little bit concerned about his hair, but not as much as on Sister Wives.
Oh, man. Watching the wives and his hair leave his body over the years is insane. Like those little ringlets. His little tendrils of hair, like the little pastas that he has, like perfectly placed. And if you get them from the wrong angle, you see how you see how the whole hair system works. And it's like so fun. Like sometimes I'll just watch the show and I'll just follow his hair. I'll tune out what he's saying and I'll just look at the different angles. It's such a wild show.
It is a wild show. Anyway, Ryan, thank you so much for doing this. I have enjoyed every minute.
I hope your audience likes this. Ace will be back soon. I'm sorry, but I'm so thrilled to be here, and this was a joy. I've been looking forward to this all week because I don't really talk a lot about Miami on my show, so I watch it every week. So this was just a joy. Thank you so much.
Oh well, thank you, and guys, if you haven't, Ryan is so good on TikTok. You give so many updates. I'm so bad at that. I don't even know how to use TikTok. But
I'm not that good at it either. I gotta get better at the TikTok of it all. Like Instagram, I post a lot, but like mainly my main thing is just the podcast. I try to do this like 5 days a week in the Patreon, and I truly love it. I found something that I never expected to fall in love with, and I work my butt off. But
you
it's
do.
like
You do work
we're talking
hard
about these shows that we love.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not be excited about this?
Yeah. No, you're very good at what you do. I love your podcast, and honestly, if you haven't listened to it, he's at the top of the charts every week. So I'm sure you've heard of It's So Bad It's Good by Ryan Bailey, or with Ryan Bailey.
If you want they're long form shows, you guys. We do like a Salt Lake recap. We do OC recaps. We do a pop culture roundup. There's just a lot of weirdness on there. So if you're looking for a chuckle or some news, you can find it over there. But I always say on any podcast I go on, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. No joke. Like, listen, you think these people that are like, oh, that's a successful pod, it still really helps. And it's a quick, free way to support, your favorite podcaster out there. So
let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a quick example before we go about one of the things that Marysol does. Okay. We never get bad. One last Marysol, just so that I want her to know that we know it's you, Marysol. We don't get bad reviews. We don't, because Ace is so beloved. Ace's fan base, the trash bags, my God, they're the best people. No, I've come to really love them, and they have embraced me in a way that really I appreciate. The other day it was right after I did my first episode without him, and somebody said, I am a long-time Ace fan. I adore Ace, but I can't listen to Anna when she's alone. She's so annoying. She's all this stuff. So I send this to Ace. I go, can you believe this? You see, you're not the only one. And he Googles it. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. And the person who wrote that comment has written negative comments on David Yontef, who she doesn't like, and then some other stuff in Spanish. So he tells me, he goes, there isn't one single trash bag that speaks Spanish. I don't have a single bilingual whatever. And the truth is that sometimes we'll get a negative comment, but they still give the 5 stars. So if there's something they don't like about me, like Anna, get closer to the mic, stop touching your face, all those things, which I do listen to you guys, they will put the 5 stars because they would never hurt something Ace is a part of. So if you love Ace, you would never give the 1 star. So honestly, get a hobby. Idle minds are the playground of the devil, girl. Do something resembling anything.
Marysol, if you're listening, my podcast is not called So Bad It's Good. It's called Give Them Lala by Lala Kent. That's my actual podcast title. If you need to give a review over there, feel free to, Marysol. Big fan.
No, he loves you. He loves you. He loves you.
Your knees look great. Love them.
I just needed to say that little PSA there because it's like, we know, girl.
Wow.
Relax.
Ace, if you're listening, I'm so sorry that I couldn't get Anna. Anna's really coming to Marysol. Really, I'm so sorry I wasn't. I don't know if you were able to, make her not do this. So that's my bad, Ace. Very sorry. And Trash Bags, very sorry as well.
Trash bags are the best. They came in and actually he came in the last episode and did We Interrupt This program, and he talked 10 minutes about a bunch of stuff, and he does not mince words either. This is why we get along so well. So these are all my opinions, guys, not of Ryan Bailey, who's a very nice guy and loves everybody. No, you really do. You really do.
No,
though.
I appreciate the game. Listen, I do have very strong opinions. Like, I'll go really hard on Jax Taylor or like those people. But at the same time, we all view that. But you also have a different experience, and you know these people in real life. And that's why it's like kind of an interesting... It's an interesting dynamic because behind the scenes stuff that, and it feels like Marysol's burned you in some way.
She has. She has.
That interesting.
And when I'm wrong, when our listeners know it, I say I'm wrong. I fucked up. I was wrong about that person. I'll eat all my words, and I have done that, and I will continue to do that. If Marysol surprises me and does something completely, comes out and says, you know what, I did say that, I did do that, I am sorry, I'm whatever. Yeah. I think I could maybe. I'll think about it. But look, I've changed my mind about.
Tune in next week to see what she's wrong about, you guys. Yeah.
It depends. But yeah, no, I will. So anyway, Thank you so, so much, you guys. You know where to find him. So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey every day, right?
Well, Monday through Friday, but we do
Monday
Patreon
through Friday.
episodes on the weekend. There's always something,
Okay.
but just pick and choose
Okay.
what seems interesting to you if you want to check it out. But if not, no worries. Support this podcast, support Anna, support Ace, and I'm just glad to be here. No, don't need a plug.
Thank you. We loved having you. We loved having you. Thank you so
you guys
much.
got to come on sometime when it's good, or you.
Oh, no, we're going
you and
to.
Ace, or just you. Love it. Yeah.
We're going to. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much to Ryan Bailey, to Pat, our producer, to Ace, to Caitlin for letting Ace hang out with me, every week, and to all the other little babies. And of course, thank you, Beyonce, and to all our listeners. We always thank Beyonce because we don't want to be murdered.
Oh, of course. Oh my God. I thank Beyonce every day of my life. Thank you. I would like to also thank Beyonce.
You've got all your bases covered. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.